holding out, sleeping for so long. You never even knew that anything was wrong. Then it came one night, it gave you such a start.
Hi, I'm Yestin, and we're here at wonderful Echo Mountain Studios in Asheville, and I'm producing Chris's forthcoming record.
It's my 5th solo album, and it's called The Long Goodbye, and I'm working with my buddy, producer Yestin Paulson.
This is obviously a much more introspective record than the last record that I did with Chris.
It's an album that comes in the aftermath of a breakup, and so these songs were just really, I guess, therapy for me, and then I realized that I should probably record them.
Whereas before it was much more of a band-orientated thing, where we routine the songs very strictly with the band, and it was, it was very much about a band thing, whereas this, I think, is much more about the vocals and the delivery of the vocals, and allowing the emotion within each song to come out. I think that's very important and it's key to this record, it being such a sort of personal, confessional record, really, I suppose.
Well, it's been really helpful to work with Yestin on this because, you know, after recording my last album with him, we've become friends, and so there's that level of trust, I think, that's important with an album like this one, where I might otherwise be, you know, scared to kind of work with a new producer and just who I don't know and who doesn't know me, and sort of reveal this material and try and capture it. It's nice to have someone you trust and who's a friend.
Your songs will all be sung. You won't arrive there young. No lie can live on your tongue when you get to the bottom of love.
I think the approach is minimalism, and therefore making everything count. So everything's there for a reason. Yeah, just self-contained. When they work, like when it's just him and one instrument playing, it works.
There's a lot less self-consciousness in it, in a way. Just sort of putting it all out there, bearing myself. And I think that's kind of different, you know? It's just going to be me and an instrument. That's going to form the basis of the tracks.
Forgiveness has a name, and no one is to blame when you get to the bottom of love. Master of the long goodbye, I'd hurt myself to keep from making you cry.
The other new thing with this album is I wrote 2 songs on a piano, and I'm not a piano player, I'm a horrible piano player, so that was my own little sort of challenge to make myself do that. I kind of forced myself to. So I'll be recording on a nice piano in here.
I made you crazy, I made you wait, I made the night become too late. Can you forgive my coward heart? You had it from the very start. Sometimes aching for a clue, loved you with everything.
The unfamiliarity of the studio often is, I think it's often a challenge, particularly for a solo artist, when it's just you on your own in a room trying to bare your soul now, right here and now.
You know, it's hard to get into that space and get it down on tape. So that's been the real challenge for me. It's just keeping myself in that space, emotional space, so that I can properly do justice to it, you know, and properly get it out in the way that I want. And then what I'm hoping is once that's done, it'll clear up, you know, space for the next stuff to come through. You're writing these things about yourself that you don't necessarily want to hear or admit to yourself. And then you have to perform them a bunch of times, you know, and put it on tape and try and capture the real emotion of what that is. On one level, the writing and the songwriting was hard, but on another level, it was easy. It came quickly, as long as I let myself stay in that uncomfortable place. I've just chosen this as my therapy and my way of getting meaning in the world and expressing, you know, my relationship to it. And just getting it out, you know, a long relationship ends and you have to come face to face with some hard truths about yourself. I mean, you don't have to. you can not. But I chose to for this recording.
Being a buffer between the reality of recording and being able, and the emotional connection that you're trying to make whilst recording, I think is probably my main role within this context. Because all I'm really doing is putting up mics, and then it's down to Chris, really. You know what I mean? It's not like there's any smoke and mirrors going on here. It's about, you know, trying to get him to a place where he can connect with his emotions and convey the emotions of the song truly and, you know, and correctly and adequately in order for it to be able to stand the test of listening back to it and it being an emotionally rewarding experience to listen to. So I think that, you know, just generally as this kind of just general reassurance that everything's going to be fine. And he's great at what he does, just needs to relax, sing the song, job done.
Take me to the start. You came in with a broken back. Night birds singing out, Billy Boot, heart attack. Floating in our orbits, how did we ever decide? Did we fall into each other? Was it just a slow collide? Did we see each other clearly? Were there questions we didn't ask? You only took me home with you when I wore my wrestling mask.
Funny thing about a breakup, I mean, everyone breaks up. It's not like, you know, it happens to you and you think you're the only person in the world. But this happens every day. But that's the wonder of the experience and the wonder of love. It's like, you know, it's like heartbreak is heartbreak for a reason. It's